Yay there, back again, back again, back again. So today I just want us to talk about um, 3 or 4 reasons that prevent people from starting or implementing an idea they have. I've been through it, and this is my personal experience, right? Just as I said, I'm documenting my journey, and I hope my journey can motivate you to start something. We'll talk about the processes, but I just want to tell you what caused me to start and what that should motivate you to start as well. So, yeah, the first thing I want to talk about is fear of failure. Most of us have the perception that what if I start and I fail? In that same way, you should also ask yourself, what if I start and it becomes a success? What if I start and keep working at it and make it work? What if I start and it doesn't fail? So don't just consider that it can fail, but consider that it can work. And sometimes we think about what people would think or what people will make of us if it doesn't work. But the truth about this is that people do not care. People do not care enough about you to ridicule you. People do not care whether you make it or do not make it. Mostly people care when you do not make it, right? And it shouldn't be about what people think, but it should be about what you think. And just like I said, you don't want to think 20 years, 10 years, 5 years down the line and regret that you never took the action because you were afraid. And what is the worst that can happen? Failure. So what happens when you fail is that it motivates you to start again. And when you fail, the best thing to do is to learn from that failure and then start again, become more smarter, become more knowledgeable. You become very resilient, and then you start again. And you fail, you start again. And you can turn it around at any point in time, provided you learn from the failure. Some of us, when we fail at certain things, do not learn from it, and therefore we are not able to see that, okay, this is going the same way that the previous one was going, and so I can turn things around and do it differently. And that is when a lot of the times we keep failing at it. But at a point, if you learn from it over and over and over again, trust me, you can make it. Okay, you can do things differently and you can make it. So start it, do not fear, because it can be successful. And at the end of it all, failure is not the end. It's just a feedback for you. It's the process that matters. And every successful entrepreneur had a few failures in their story. And they can tell you this. Even if the idea was not a failure, the funding, they failed in multiple situations until they got to one person that believed in the dream and said, I want to support you. Even if the funding was not a failure, maybe the process implementation, they failed a couple of times until they got a one that was successful for them. Maybe the marketing was a failure in the beginning. They were not getting clients until they turned something around, learned from it, and turned it around. So yeah, you cannot sit down and fear if you do not start. And when you fail, learn from it and keep going, and it will get better. Okay, so just start. We saying that again. The next thing that a lot of us want to do is perfectionism, or wait for the perfect moment. And there can never be a perfect moment, and you can never get it perfect in the first try, right? So perfectionism can be an enemy of progress. That the truth is, your idea doesn't need to be perfect in the first instance. It just needs you to start it. And when you start it, you keep learning on how to improve on the things you are doing. You keep learning from the experiences of other people. And with time, over time, I spoke about product market fit the last time. With time, you will get to the point where you need to be, that the product or the service that you are offering becomes something that is worthwhile, that people would want to pay any amount to access the service or purchase the product. So perfectionism does not come easy. Perfectionism does not come right from the start. It is with constant working on the service or working on the product. So just start at it, keep working at it until you get to the point where it is fit for the market enough. If you go back and you want to look at the first prototype that Facebook built, it is not the same Facebook we have today. When you go back and you look at how Microsoft started, it is not the same Microsoft we have today. When you go back and you look at Apple, the Apple series, from the very first Apple that was released until today we have the 16s, they are not the same. Even Apple 5 is not the same as Apple 10. Though most of us say the design is, but there are things that are changing in it. You go back and you look at Samsung, the Galaxy series, and it is not the same. You look at the cars that are being produced today, and they are not the same models, or they are not of the same design as they were before, right? So perfectionism comes with time. Perfectionism is not attained right from the beginning. So if you want to see the perfect time before you start, then you are losing a lot. You are losing time. So the perfect time to start is now. But you cannot build a perfect product now. It is built over time. So over time, you will achieve perfectionism. Okay. And the next thing we want to talk about is thing that scares us is lack of time, lack of resources. And I do not have time. I do not have the money. But there are mostly businesses that you can build. You need money. I'll share my experience on this. When I decided to start on my business, when I decided to start on the business, I had to sit down, do a lot of research, and also do an introspection where I realized, okay, I was lacking in these skills. So if I'm going to do it, I can't do it alone. I'm not a developer. I'm more of a business analyst, a business strategist and all. So I can come up with all the designs, come up with, some kind of mock-ups, come up with the whole process flow, come up with the whole strategy of how the business should go and everything. And so if I'm not a developer and I do not have the resources to make somebody build a product, then I might as well speak to somebody who believes in the idea as much as I do and wants to come on as a founding member, so that you can only go as far alone, but you can go further when you build that team. So you can own 100% shares of the company, but if you're not able to do enough, it will not. But if you bring people on board and you split the shares across, and it becomes, the business grows, you can all enjoy from it, right? So you want to leverage on the skills of others and fill the gap that you have. I'm at a point, I've also not done sales in my career. I've mostly been in analysis, in investment, in REX, and more on doing the back office analysis and all. So mostly I've not done customer facing sales and everything. So I realized, okay, I needed somebody also that can help me in that regard, and therefore I brought somebody on board, right? So you might be lacking in a skill, you might be lacking in time, because at the beginning you're working and you're doing that as a side, but you want to bring people on board that also believe in that idea. If you do not have the resources, look at ways that you can use alternative sources to help you implement what you are building. Okay, so you do not need to figure everything out. You do not need a huge investment or all the hours within the day to start. It's about progress. It's not about perfection. It's about building the team that you can each leverage on each other's skills to make sure that whatever is lacking to make this a success is achieved, right? So small steps, get people in that have the skills or the resources that you are lacking. And if you are lucky enough to be able to raise some funding, that will also do you good. We'll talk about that more along the line. And the last thing I want to talk about here is self-doubt. That there's somebody out there that can do it better than myself, so why do I need to worry? Or you question yourself, am I good enough? Who am I to start the business? Who are you not to start the business? The idea came to you, so that means that there is some potential in you to put things into place. So what you can do is that every entrepreneur feels the same way you feel. At the beginning, that I have some self-doubt. Everyone starts with some doubt. That, for example, I've not been here long enough, so can I do this? I don't have the skill, so can I do this? But you do not need to be perfect. That is how come you want to leverage on other people's resources. You want to leverage on other people's skills, bring them together, form the team, and grow together, right? That is only way you can each motivate yourself. All you need to do is to just be willing. Just be willing to do it. Just be willing to push further. Just be willing to further the action. And the world is full of people no smarter than you, who just took action and made something out of the idea they had. They say that the average people when we are all in a class, the A's usually do not take action, the B's take action and therefore employ the A's. But I mean, what I'm just trying to say is that all you can do is to take the action. Where you are the best person to start it. That's how come the idea is in your mind. So put it to paper and work on it. And with time, if you truly keep working at it and keep learning to become better and also build some team around you, you can make it work. All right. So perfectionism is built over time and not at the beginning. Self-doubt, you are the best person to start, so just start it. Implement or leverage or conduct an introspective and know the skills you are lacking in, and see how you can leverage on other resources or have alternatives that do not need much investment, or get people in to help you. And the last thing is that fear of failure. You can